I lost my job. It was sudden, mass layoffs, company dissolved, what have you. And for better or for worse, I could not feel more calm and centered. And I wanted to talk to y'all today about when something happens to us that sends us into crisis mode. What does that crisis mode look like for you? What does crisis mean to you? When something happens that you would never have chosen for yourself, but it is here, it is happening, it is real, there is an immediate need for response, for action, and for you to find a solution so you can get yourself out of crisis mode and back to a more even keeled existence. I think most of us think of crisis mode as this space and time where you are extremely reactive. You have this haphazard way of existing on a daily basis. You're just constantly reacting to what is happening to you. But what if this thing that has happened to us, where everyone is feeling bad and sorry for us and asking if we need help, what if something like that happened and everyone was like congratulating you for this unexpected moment of possibility and opportunity that you never would have created for yourself? This happenstance that you find yourself within that holds such potential for growth and for development and for enrichment and enlivened experience of yourself in this world. What if this crisis could be the gateway through which you access your superpowers? We are prompted in these moments to rise to our own occasion or to fall into a space of helpless, powerless debilitation, completely at the whim of external forces, with no ability to determine our own reality. But what if we took a crisis, an unexpected, fucked up happening that took our daily routine and livelihood and basis of reality, turned it on its head, and dismantled it? What if we stood amidst the rubble of our previous reality, and instead of losing ourselves within the utter loss and devastation and becoming consumed by the fear and anxiety of all that lays before us that is also out of our control, what if instead we stood amidst this rubble, looked around, and said to ourselves, well, that fucking sucks. What's next? What does this destruction open up for me? What path is it possible for me to carve out now that was not even within my realm of consciousness before, because it didn't have to be, because I wasn't in a situation that was calling me to rise to an occasion, to survive, to thrive, to determine my future? What if I lost my job, which I did? What if instead of feeling self-pity or disappointment or frustration or agony, what if instead I felt excited for this new opportunity that I never would have just given myself out of nowhere in my comfortable daily routine of going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home, having a reliable income, coming home? This sudden jolt out of that reality and into a space of expansive possibility and opportunity, and a space in which I have a choice. I have a choice to flounder, to fall, to panic, to wallow, or to observe, to reflect on what of that previous existence was working for me. What of it did I wish was different but wasn't doing anything to change? What of it was fulfilling my creative instincts? What of it was giving me purpose and drive to impact the people around me in a positive, constructive way? What if it was feeding my passion for this life and to be here in a meaningful way? What if it was undermining that capacity within myself? What if it was sucking up parts of my energy and time that I would have rather devoted to any other endeavor? I can reflect upon those questions. I can use this as an opportunity to then ask of myself, what now? How do I wish to move forward? What of those things do I want to give myself now? What do I want to work toward that I didn't have the time or energy to before in my comfortable daily existence? What if this crisis is the gateway through which I will access my superpowers, the superpowers that only come alive when I am faced with a situation that is calling upon my resourcefulness, my ingenuity, the wisdom that I have gathered, the lessons that I've learned from other fucked up situations that have happened, and watching myself recover from them and carve out a new, better way of being for myself in their wake. What if I didn't become a victim of these circumstances, but rather grabbed a hold of this opportunity for me to redirect my focus and my energy to something that will serve me in a greater way than what my previous secure daily existence was providing for me? When something happens, we can face it with the frame of mind that has us believing it happened to us, this horrible, negative thing happening to us, or this thing just simply happening, and then getting to watch ourselves. How do we respond to it? Do we fall into some haphazard space of reaction? Do we start climbing our way out? Do we dance with these circumstances? Do we have this give and take of feeling out what is being given to you and then responding in a way that uses that force, that utilizes what already exists to optimize my experience of that happening? Do I tiptoe? Do I walk on eggshells in fear? How will that end up determining the outcome of this situation? Do I bulldoze my way through the rubble? Do I forcefully push my way through and get to where I've decided I need to be? What of that is empowering? What of that makes me miss out on everything in between what I see as point A and point B? All of the unexpected gifts that if I have blinders on and missing to my left and right. At any given moment, we have agency over what happens next. Yes, things are going to happen out of our control constantly, but within that storm, we have choices to make. We have the ability to gauge what is possible, what is not, how we frame the wreckage, the tools that we have to repair something that we had previously built that was damaged by this happening. We have the choice to take the happening that has impacted us significantly and choose what we want to make out of what it left in its wake. And for this particular crisis in which I find myself, I have every reason to be grateful for the fact that I have lived through enough of these crises and watched myself respond to them and grow out of them, that I find myself sort of in this center of the tornado, grounded and calm, and with the wherewithal to recognize this tornado as an endless source of opportunity, to embrace the element of unknown, uncertainty, of the lack of control I have over certain things. If I embrace that fact, if I accept it, then I can leave that be, all of the things out of my control, all of the things that I cannot influence. I can release myself from the fear and anxiety and pain of wishing I did have control over them, and instead turn that energy and focus to the things that lay before me that I can do something about. Instead of wallowing, I can conjure. I can conjure up those survival instincts in me that I have cultivated for 41 years to guide me, to look out for me. I can trust in the self that I have cultivated to navigate this new crisis in a way that will serve me to grow. All this to say, this life is just inherently riddled with fucked up happenings, and it always will be. But if we can rise to our own occasion and start to create out of the rubble, anything that happens to us can turn into an opportunity. In the wake of this fucked up happening, I find myself empowered and enlivened at the thought of all that I could create out of this rubble. And I hope that if you are experiencing a similar crisis, or when you do inevitably find yourself in crisis mode again, that you meet the aftermath with a sense of trust that all the things that helped you get through all of the crises before will continue to serve you in carving out the path that you want to create that you never would have if you hadn't been faced with such unexpected, out of your control happenings. If we meet these spaces with a sense of curiosity and wonder of all the possibilities that we have now at our disposal, we can reclaim our self-determination. We can allow ourselves to create what happens next. This is your life. Take the fucked up shit that's happened to you and stand amidst the rubble and ask yourself, what can I make out of this with the tools that I have gathered along the way? Or what lies just beyond this heaping pile of bullshit that I hadn't seen before? Call upon your superpowers and rise to your own occasion and marvel at yourself as you go. I want to hear how you made something beautiful out of that fucked up thing that happened to you. So, if you are so inclined, please do share in the comments, and I will see you next time.